Yeah, we need to do this more often, dude. This is good. And
We should.
we can try and come up with some like funny things to talk about too before, but yeah.
Yeah, man. If you can, I don't have any social media now, so if you can, if you feel like it's worth sharing, it's on you to get it out there. But I'll post it to YouTube in the next couple days. It'll be
You deleted
edited.
all your social stuff?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. I'll be back at some point. But dude, it's been such a positive thing. I could not more strongly recommend. I mean, not for
Yeah.
everyone, but there comes a point when that is definitely the thing to do, because you don't
Yeah.
realize how much headspace is consumed by the knowledge that your whole friend group is always like a click away.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's very true. Yeah.
and for me, it was more specific than that, but like as a side effect, I don't know if you have this kind of dreams, but like sometimes some nights I'll be like kind of half asleep and I'll just keep dreaming that people I know are in the room, and it'll like keep me from getting like full sleep or whatever. I realized that is what social media is like for me. It's like they're always kind of there, and without the option to try to live my life for this audience, it took off a lot of pressure that I didn't know I felt, because I'm not a super active
Yeah,
user.
that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not either, but I do waste a lot of time on it. Facebook, like probably a month and a half ago, I was like, I'm so over this.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a lot of Facebook groups. I'm an admin in a group that like, it's a great group of people, but it's just like, it's work, honestly. Like, because people have issues with each other and like, you're somehow responsible for that. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it just feels like a responsibility to have it at all, because there's so many connections
yeah, it
that
does.
only exist there. So I had to like go
Mhm.
into all my DMs, or at least the ones I wanted to keep, and be like, all right, we're gonna text now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have missed
Yeah.
a couple, but I got all the ones that were important, I think.
Right. But like, and then Instagram, I just waste time on. Like, I just like, I'll scroll
Yeah.
through and like watch stupid sports clips and like funny memes. It's just too much, dude. I think that like, it like kind of what you're saying, like it gives you this artificial sense of like, I think it's two things that are like negative. Obviously, it allows you to like only present yourself in a certain way. But
Yeah.
then if you think about it on the flip side, it gives you an artificial sense of knowing someone, because like in reality, like there's people that like I know in real life, but like not really anymore. And I see their social media and like, I can almost see through some of it where I'm like, this is not like the only part of your life.
Oh yeah.
Like, but it's the only one that you want to present, which is
Right.
okay. But like that aspect of things too, like drives me insane. Cause I think like,
and even
yeah.
For myself, like I realized that I identify with that persona, as a like second and third and fourth personalities that I'm maintaining. Even though I'm not one to like heavily filter anything, visually or conceptually, but still, it's like I'm keeping track of all these ways that I've presented myself. And for someone who already has anxiety, like it's not the fault of the medium, it's the amount of stimulus that we think we can handle, but is actually like way over consuming space in our limited heads.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I had this crazy realization. I thought about like, how much time do I spend watching shit when I could be creating shit, or I could be learning something, or like spending my time like with people I love, but I waste so much time getting caught in like YouTube wormholes, and I'll be on YouTube for like 8 hours at a time. Almost every person our age has done that a few times in their life. I've like just wasted so much, and most people do it on a regular basis. I have such an artificial sense of like the way that I think about certain people, or like I feel like certain celebrities and athletes, like I have a relationship with, because I feel like I know them because of the amount of content that they put out and the amount of content that's put out for them. Even that kind of stuff is wild to think about.
And in some way you kind of do, but should you? Like that's, you know what I mean? Is like, how unnatural is it to have something bigger than a community that could ever physically function?
Yeah. How weird is that like we spend so much of our lives staring at like a screen that another human being has like taken the time to create. And like, it's just such a weird, like, what a weird thought, honestly.
I know.
Like,
I
that's
know,
a
dude.
wild thought, dude. They're like, and also like, people talk about time travel. Time travel exists right now, and it's literally like film and photography.
Yeah, we're all over
That's
the plane
literally
of
time
time.
travel.
Yep.
Yes, you can't tell me that that's not, because I'm
And
literally,
honestly,
I'm watching a depiction of a different, like, even if it's like a lot, like I could go on YouTube right now and I could travel back to 1998 and I could watch Mark McGwire break the
bro,
home run record.
considering what we have access to, we're pretty terrible at using it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we get on binges, and like I'm always telling myself at least that I'm somehow being productive about it. But
Right.
like if we really knew how to harness that, we are so early in the nascence of internet. But yeah, it's literally it's time travel, and it's such a different paradigm from any other time in history. And we're kind of the victims of this like binge culture of YouTube.
Yeah.
And everything else. And
well,
access.
it's become so normalized. Like,
yeah. The bar is so low.
yeah, it's even like watching like little kids, the way that they interact with their phone. Like my niece Maxine or Declan, for example. Like, they're like 3 years old. They can like obviously like talk and everything. Like, they can put sentences together now, but they're still like babies, basically. Like, they're like tiny little humans. They know how to navigate phones better than I would have known how to navigate a smartphone when I was like 13, 14, 15, when they first came out. Like,
yeah, it's wild.
they can literally, that shit's wild too, dude. Like, that, like, it's already like she knows how to unlock the phone and pull up Netflix and go to the kids account and pull up like her favorite show.
They learn it the same way you learn language. It's just part of their identity.
It's crazy. But I like, it is like terrifying, because we're kind of seeing the first parts of it now with like TikTok, of these kids that are like 17, 18 that grew up in that full like cell phone culture.
Bro, it changes the way you think.
Yes, changes the way you think, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you act.
Yeah.
But then I think back about the things that we did, and I'm like, man, I wonder what the influences were for like us, like, that made me talk and act and like do. Like, a big one was,
I mean,
like,
movies,
for sure.
I guess,
but
like
movies and athletes, yeah.
But that's still,
That's true.
It didn't change like certain universal things, you know. And I think now, like, the tendency is for old, people who've seen like the shifts in every generation. They say, oh yeah, every generation goes through these transitions. But what we're seeing now is not the same thing. It is not a repeat of the same old patterns. And like I said before about the gap that we're in, we're the only ones who can see that. Like, we understand what they are doing is, it is not setting the pieces in motion for a world anything like what we've always had, so to speak. Which isn't to say like change is bad, but like you think we're still going through the same iterations of the same old things? No, we're not. The world is rapidly changing.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, it's going to continue changing at a more and more and more rapid pace too.
Exactly.
I think that's what's terrifying to me. I don't think I really want to have like a family. I want to have kids, but like, I also like don't.
I know. It's terrifying.
Like, just like how the world is right now.
Like you, the idea of putting a me or a you in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just dropping them. That's what I think about, is like, I think about like, my parents did a pretty good job of like being able to control like my just like wildness and weirdness and all that.
Yeah.
But that was in the 90s.
Right.
How am I going to raise a kid that's like me, which he will be like me, because like God's going to do that.
Yeah, strong genes.
Be like a backhanded slap in the face of like, haha, like, now you get to see what a little prick you really were. Like, that's totally how it's going to be. The idea of doing that now in like the 20s is like, dude, the world is so much more fucked up than it was when we were kids in the 90s. And well, that might not even be true, but we certainly didn't know about how fucked up things were. Right. And we do now. Because me and Casey were actually talking about that pretty recently, about like, I wonder in the 70s and 80s and 90s, before people could have access about information about basically anyone, anywhere in the country, like I wonder how fucked up things really were even back then in a lot of these ways that we're seeing our world just be horrible right now. Like I wonder how many similarities that there would be if we had this platform, like this media platform that we do now. I think that like some of it would probably be the same, but like I'm curious like how much of it's happened because of like the technology boom and the way that like just having information at your fingertips is like just I'm just curious to see how much that's like negatively affected and positively affected like the world as a whole.